I learned about Moomins as a mystical creature when I was traveling in Europe a few years ago, and learned about this entire world that was created by the author and illustrator Tove Jansson. She's Scandinavian, and she wrote and illustrated several different comic strips and small books kind of cataloging the adventures of these mystical creatures, Moomins. And this book kind of compiles several of those texts, but also just gives an overview of the world that Tove Jansson had created. So in this book you have maps and lists that help you understand all of these different creatures and characters and the planet they live on, behaviors, the scary things that could happen to them. They are personified creatures, so they have human-like characteristics, and although of course they're completely mystical, they have human-like feelings and relationships, but then there's a huge element of the bizarre and just kind of random sorts of likes and dislikes and events that happen to them. But it's so fun and whimsical and quirky. There are several different narratives. Once all of the different types of creatures and the world is established, it goes into all these different narratives about characters that play a role in Moominvalley. So, Thingamy and Bob. Just an example. The Mimble with an asterisk. And again, these were published in the 1950s and 60s, so they're old, but it doesn't affect how magical these stories feel. And with fantasy, it doesn't really feel ever very dated, because they maintain these human-like characteristics, but contemporary elements aren't usually present in this sort of situation where there's a world that's been created that has its own sorts of rules. It's not necessarily like a futuristic type of fantasy.